What is up, harvesters? Welcome back to the returning viewers, and if you're brand new here, welcome to Hobby Harvest. My name is Ken. Today we're diving into something that's super important if you want to hold deer, especially mature bucks, on your property. We are going to talk about how to create buck bedding areas. Now, a lot of folks jump straight into making buck beds, but here's the thing. You can't really have buck bedding until you've got doe bedding figured out first. So let's jump into it. Bucks and does have totally different bedding habits. Bucks want the most secure, secluded spot they can find, somewhere they feel totally safe. Does and fawns, though, usually bed a lot closer to food sources. Their bedding areas aren't quite as thick or hidden, but they're convenient. And here's why that matters. When you've got a solid setup for does near the food, the bucks naturally push deeper into the cover to find their own space. So when we're creating bedding for bucks, we're actually starting by designing the does bedding first. So let's talk about how to plan your property. Before you fire up a chainsaw or plant a single seed, you need a plan. Walk your property and mark down what's already there. Feeding areas, even if they're seasonal, and any existing bedding zones. Also, those natural lines of movement, deer trails, funnels, pinch points. Once you start thinking about adding a new bedding area, you've got to also think about how you'll get in and out without blowing everything up. Doe bedding right up against food sources can be tough to hunt. It's high risk, but it's great for managing does if your goal is to keep the pressure low and focus on mature bucks. Your best play for bucks is hunting those travel routes between bedding and food. That's where you'll catch them moving during daylight and you'll reduce your risk of spooking deer. So how do you pick the right spot? All right, let's talk about where the bucks actually like to bed. They love points, benches, and spots just below the ridge line. From there, they get a great view and can use the wind to their advantage. They'll usually bed with their back to the wind so they can smell everything coming from behind and look downhill where danger might come from. Here's something a lot of folks don't realize. When the wind hits a hill, it swirls back up, kind of like how a wave or a snowdrift works. In the morning, you've got thermals rising uphill and the predominant wind is blowing over the ridge behind the buck. That means the buck can scent check both directions from that bed. As that scent comes over the hill, he can scent check that way. And as it swirls back under him, he can scent check what is in front of him or what is downhill as well. And what you will find out is those bucks bed on that exact point where that swirl happens. Now, the steeper the hill, the higher up the bedding spot will be. It's an awesome natural defense, and it's exactly why some bucks seem impossible to surprise. So how are we gonna build this bedding area? Now, when you start building a bedding area, remember, thick, nasty cover is your friend. You can hinge cut or flush cut some of those tall canopy trees to get horizontal cover down at the deer level. You want sunlight hitting the ground to spark regrowth, grasses, forbs, all that good stuff. Plant switchgrass or other dense grasses for cover and throw in some pines to break up sight lines and give them year-round security. And don't forget, deer still need food near their bedding. A couple of browse plants or native regen species make a big difference. So great, we got this bedding area in. How are we gonna hunt it now? Well, all right, once you've got your bedding area built, it's time to think about how to actually hunt it. You can create man-made deer trails linking your bedding areas to food sources, use down trees, plantings, or brush piles to funnel deer movement through predictable spots. Then at one of those pinch points, add a few key things: a mock scrape, maybe a small water hole, and a trail camera. And while we're talking about trail cameras, it's a good time to introduce the sponsor of this video, Guard Pro trail cameras. I've been using these cameras for some time. I used to use all those big box name brand cameras back in the day. I got very dissatisfied with them and switched to Guard Pro a few years ago. They then, after that, decided to sponsor me. And because of that, I can now share with you guys a discount code down in the description. So if you want to check out their cameras, go check them out. Go use that discount code. It works on everything on their website, not just their trail cams. So, all right, we've got this area where we got that mock scrape, that water hole, and that trail cam set up. Set your stand where you've got a perfect shot on that mock scrape, and make sure your entry and exit routes don't cut across the main deer movement. And seriously, don't go marching through the bedding area. Let those deer feel safe. Bedding areas take a couple of years to really fill in and start working the way you want them to. So don't go in there busting them out. Just let them grow up and hunt that line of movement in and out of that bedding area, not that bedding area itself. So to sum it up, bucks want security, does want convenience. Build your doe bedding first, plan your property layout, then create thick, secluded bedding for bucks and hunt those travel routes, not the bedding itself. If you do it right and stay patient, you'll eventually have deer bedding and moving exactly where you want them. Drop a comment about what kind of bedding projects you're working on this season. If this helps you out, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, hunt smart, stay patient, and respect the land.